Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is another session of our Blades in the Dark campaign. Last time was our first play session for these characters, and today we're moving into the downtime activities and exploring the world and getting our characters to look at what's around them, learning a little bit more, and setting us up for the next heist that we're going to be doing. This session is part of Open Hearth Gaming, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at Open Hearth Gaming or Hearth Gaming. You can spell it the same way, .com, which has everything about our various podcast feeds and recorded audio feeds and everything that we do. So please check that out. Uh, so we are taking up with our characters in the wake of their fairly successful job. As I mentioned last time, uh, no one was killed, which is often a thing that occurs in these jobs. You are at 5 heat now as we go into this situation here. Before we get too much further, we're going to set up a few things in the background right now regarding the city. So uh, there are some things that have happened recently in the city, and I'm going to be asking you to tell me a little bit about them. Uh, Cogito. So recently there was a prophecy that was uncovered, newly found. Um, tell me about that. Was it found in an archive? Was it hidden away? Was it an Old Testament? Was it brought here by the Drylanders? And what is that prophecy hinting at?
Okay. So what's it hinting at? How was it discovered? But
Yeah.
it's old. It's an old,
Oh yeah,
ancient
like
kind of thing. Okay.
newly found.
Okay. We're on a moon, right?
Yes.
Could it be in like etched into the moon rocks of some kind of cave? Like these etchings maybe almost predate human arrival here, if we want to take it in that kind of direction, or is that off tone?
Maybe on, well, we have those caverns down below, and maybe on some areas of that fallen civilization, that fallen city that predates this city.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. We do have a fallen city that predates the current one. So
Okay.
maybe there it is.
Okay. So this prophecy has been found. Um, like, what is it saying? Is it controversial, not controversial? Are they trying to suppress it? Like, tell me the deal about this prophecy.
How about it's a prophecy that essentially hints that the current civilization or societal structure will fall. It is unclear whether it is a reference to the one we're currently in or a one or in reference to the one that actually fell. It kind of reminds me of the preterist interpretation of the Book of Revelation, which basically is the interpretation which says all of that was just prophesizing something that happened in like the year 100 AD, and it's totally irrelevant now. Kind of interesting. So
So
maybe something like that.
I love it. So right now we've got some people that are dismissing it as a historical anomaly, but other people who are maybe taking it up as a rallying cry or as a thing to be worried about. So that is recently discovered and it's kind of out in the ether, as it were. Uh, Let me come to our spider. Um, the city, we saw a little bit of this last time, and that there is a strong sports culture. We saw our blitzball teams fighting there in the streets. There is a big sports event coming up. Um, is it blitzball? Is it something else? And what makes it significant?
I think this isn't Blitzball. As much fun as that is, I just don't want to rip off Final Fantasy X. I think this is a regatta. I think this is a
Ooh,
a boat race with these like flying skiffs that we have.
Okay.
Um, I like the idea that these these boats, or sort of floating ships are going to have to maneuver at high speed through the kind of like canyons and um, the tight spaces of the city. Like I think there's maybe a limit to how much altitude you can get because otherwise you could just fly in a straight line.
Okay.
And I think that this is significant because it commemorates it's an event that is being put on by the Drylanders, and it commemorates, you know, I'm putting this in heavy scare quotes, like
Right.
Unification Day or whatever. Like it commemorates the day that they um, succeeded in their attempt to take power in this city.
Excellent. A lot of money being spent to push it and to get the public to embrace it. And it's an important event with a lot of political significance.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ariel won with all of the like stuff that comes along with that.
yes. Uh, and then for our coiner, um, there is so that we have that coming up. Uh, there is a local holiday that is celebrated here, but the authorities have imposed some changes on that holiday. Like, what has gone on? What is the holiday, and what have they like ordered regarding it?
So the holiday kind of has a April Fool's, Feast of Fools vibe to it.
Okay.
I think it's Mudlarkers
Okay.
or Mudlarkers Day, where the typical celebration is to go down to the canals or down among the canals, and some people will make it a respectable, we're going to clean up the canals or dredge the canals. Some people, it's we're going to find whatever goodies we can find. And some people, it's just, we're going to have a mud fight. And the Drylander authorities are not fond of most of this. They've tried to make the cleanup of the canals an official service of the city with machinery and official crews and keep the civilians out of it. And they certainly don't approve of mudlarking or mud fights. So I think there is an official celebration, but it's more along the lines of let's commemorate, let's do a little play, let's, keep everything neat and tidy and out of any actual mud. And most of the city is not buying that.
Yeah. Real official celebrations, restrictions on movement. They're locking down certain portions of the more publicly accessible canals,
Mhm.
and that is the grumbling below the surface. Um, and then the last thing I'm going to ask for Svetlana, uh, what do you think the flavor or spice profile is of food for the wetlanders in the bayou? Like, what do you think, like that kind of cuisine, either an analogous or particular ingredients?
I mean, it's bayou food, right? So
Okay.
Cajun, Creole. So we're talking it's seafood based, it's spicy, it's made with a lot of water bugs. And the drylanders probably find it distasteful, crude, but it's a lot of working people's food too, so hearty, spicy food you can carry often while you're walking to work, that sort of thing. A lot of street food,
So there is a
crawfish on
particularly,
sticks.
yeah, there's a particularly luxurious food within that cuisine, uh, uh, a little more rarefied, um, but used for celebrations, holidays, feast days, whatever. Uh, it has been banned. What is it, and why have the authorities banned it?
It is communal stew, and it's something that cooks for 3 days and 3 nights. And a necessary ingredient is that every household in the neighborhood adds an ingredient, and the final ingredient is a dollop of canal mud, just a small one. And it's enough, and then it cooks, and it's perfectly hygienic. But the drylanders find it, they think it's an excuse to gather in numbers, and B, unsanitary.
So it does feel like one of the things we're seeing is that through by fits and starts in slow pieces, they are working to disrupt gatherings without ordering that, X people can't gather. They're trying to be gentle about it, but we're seeing this across the board. Those tensions are rising because they are interfering in all of those different things. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to do our first downtime action. Everybody gets two downtime actions. And then we're going to do once a round of calling scenes with PCs, with NPCs, and get a little bit of that framed up before we do our second downtime action. So we're going to kind of roll along that way. Uh, so Cogito, uh, what would you like to do for your first downtime action? Do you have a project you want to do? Do you need to heal stress? Is there something else you want to do?
Can I just real quick, where are the options listed?
Oh, let me see if we've got that on the sheet here. I don't, let me see, it's on the crew sheet. No, I may not have oh yeah, Annie has put it in. So
I
acquire an
had it in my
asset,
notes.
which is going and getting something that you want to use for the future for the next mission. A long-term project, which can be uh, anything. There are a lot of different projects. Creating things is a project. Trying to make contacts or friends with another faction is a project. Those are kinds of things you can do. Recover is if you've taken harm, you can do work on your recover clock. Can reduce heat, which takes a little bit of heat off the group. You can train, which gets you an XP in a place of your choice, or you can indulge your vice to clear your stress.
Um, l- uh, just to keep things quick, let's just train for now.
Okay.
And you said it gets you an XP in a specific place?
Yeah. So do you want to train for insight, prowess, or resolve? You get would put an XP tick in that, or you could put it into your special ability track.
Let's put it into the special ability track. Now I don't see a place to put ticks for that though.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that playbook XP below the special abilities?
Is it Playbook XP that I put that under?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I,
All.
I did crib this from somebody else, or I also would have put that up a little bit higher. So
No
yeah.
problem. Cool. So I'm training, and the way that that looks for me basically is I think that I would like to really try to get my workshop up and running.
Okay.
And so what that looks like for me is basically organizing the really just the practical where you put stuff. So putting together chemical mixers. What is that? What's that term that you for when you like take blood and you spin it around like a centrifuge? Like I'm setting those kinds of things up,
Okay.
and basically that's kind of what it's looking like on my end. So the game plan here is to ultimately aim towards maybe that alchemist special ability, something like that.
So what do you think, like, th- you have a lab there. Where do you need to go to like get the additional materials? Is that you going to one of the serum technicians, or is it you going out and harvesting, or is it buying it from alchemists? Like this kind of material, where are you getting it?
Maybe my friend Veldrin.
Okay.
He's listed as my friend on the character keeper. He's a psychonaut, and I think he's the one of the corporate shamans. So he would be very well connected with material goods and services that you could purchase for a fee.
Yeah. Part of a city institution, so he is taking a bit of a risk supplying this stuff to you. Like, why is he willing to do that?
Well, I'd like to imagine that he's kind of like this game world's equivalent of a diehard libertarian,
Okay.
so he's kind of like,
A
yeah,
libertarian shaman. All right.
a
I'm
little
going.
bit like he's kind of got the, yes, I'm all for playing the market and accruing good, and I'll work within systems to do it, but also screw the Fed is kind of the attitude that he has. And if he can make a dollar on the side by um selling to me, he does that. And we also kind of go way back anyway. We're personal friends.
Yeah. What what tells you that maybe he knows more about who you used to be than he has admitted?
Oh dear. He's got a picture in his office. Can we call it an office, I guess? He's got like an
Okay.
office because he's corporate, so I assume he has an office. He's got a picture, and it's like a group photo of him with a whole bunch of other people from the upper crust of society, maybe at a party. They're all in their, fancy dress clothes. It's a kind of a nice dinner party kind of a thing. Half of them have, some kind of glass of alcohol or something. And anyway, there's maybe like one of my family members in the background. So like he's in the same group photo as a member of my family, which leads
Okay.
me to believe he's had contact, the nature of which I maybe haven't asked him about, but there's something
Yeah.
like that.
I suspect, like from what you've said, this is not a thing that you necessarily inquire about. You're not asking about your past actively, are you? Or is
Uh,
that something that worries you?
well, I think the thing is, I don't know how he would react if he knew that I was the son or daughter of
Ah, okay.
these people. He doesn't know, maybe, or well, no, you
No,
said that the
I know I like it. He
okay.
may have actually known your past self, but he has not recognized you.
I'm happy with that if you
Okay.
are.
Yeah, I like that. That works. That works for me. So yeah, you can mark that XP. Uh, Let us come to our devious mastermind, our spider. What do you want as your first downtime action?
I think maybe I want to try to reduce some heat.
Okay. And what do you think is going to be your method to do that? Are you laying the heat off on other people? Are you saying good things about yourself? Are you putting confusing stories out there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think the best way to do this is to muddy the water a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I think I'm going to reach out to my shrewd friend Celia, the the information broker,
Okay.
to not to try to get evidence erased because that's difficult,
Hmm.
but to put contradicting evidence out into the sort of channels of communication.
Okay.
I'd like to sort of try to pin this on somebody else.
And Celia will say, and who is the target of your disaffection?
I think we're meeting on like a sort of like a terrace, like a dive bar,
Okay.
but it's like a dive bar that is halfway up one of these kind of huge high rise buildings. So he can kind of lean back and like look up at the shining upper city from where he is. Um, and I think that I'm clicking over to the factions right now, um, with whom we have some status, I think. Um,
I think right now you have one faction that likes you, and one faction that dislikes you, and it's the our magical corporation group that
yeah,
has.
I'm. I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to sort of wave my hand and take a sip of my cocktail, and I'm going to say, um, Well, these great exchange types, they're always trying to undercut each other to get the plum contracts.
Da,
Someone
da, da, da,
someone
da.
wanted to someone wanted to provide for the Alcazar and wanted to get rid of anyone else ahead of them in line.
All right, all right. Uh, I will get this out there as best I can, but you, when I need something information-wise, you'll help me out from down in the mud, as it were.
I think he sort of he says, just as good a vantage point as any. Um, and he I think this is a sort of a flashback for a second to
Okay.
that that accident that I had mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and of him like carrying Celia out of the cloud of spores or fumes or whatever in like a fireman's carry. Um, they're they're listed as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a relationship of mutual interest and favors done back and forth.
Uh, let's have you roll consort.
Yeah, that's what I was angling for.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay, this is two dice, and I'm rolling. I got a five, a one and a five.
1 and a 5. So that will clear 2 ticks of heat off from your track, which is decent.
Yeah, can't push too hard with this kind of thing.
Yeah. But yes, you have that nicely managed. Uh, let's
He's
come.
like
Yes.
settling the cab. He's like paying for Celia's drink and um, hopping into one of these floating sky taxis and moving away.
Uh, she will say before you leave, I do want to tell you something that you need to be aware of since you are punching upwards, as it were. There are a lot of rumors right now, stories that are going around that the exchange is working to build stronger ties with the Bureau of Alignment. They're the witch hunters I'll mention that they hunt down the out of tune mages effectively. Uh, and Celia will say they are offering private mercenary contractors to assist the Bureau of Alignment. So just want to tell you that so you are aware of that situation, Lee.
Well, why do you think I wanted to pin this on them in the first place, darling?
You are, as always, 1 step ahead of me. You step off onto this sky cab, which takes off there. Let's come to uh our Remy. Remy, what do you wish to do for your first downtime action?
So Remy is looking to indulge some vice.
Okay.
I wonder if I could set that up here, but have the actual indulge vice be part of a scene or follow a setup scene.
Sure, sure.
It just seems like a good opportunity
Yeah,
to
let's
get some
let's let's
interaction
let's
in.
do that. Let's play that out. So,
Okay.
what's the scene you want to do here?
Um, so I think, well, before I get into it, Gwen, do you mind if I pull you into this? I can pester anybody, but I think Remy has been stomping around and making a pest of himself in the lair. He is in
Do
a
it.
mood after that last job. Can't settle to anything. So what I'm picturing is that he at some point wanders into Svetlana's workshop and whatever is sitting out that absolutely should not be a fidget toy, it's now a fidget toy. So I don't know if you have something in mind for what is it that Remy's picking up and juggling around.
Let's say it's a little, I'm not a mechanical person myself, but I've seen, it's this little thing you spin and it creates sparks and
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So he's spinning it around, getting the sparks going, and then tossing it up in the air, tossing it from hand to hand and juggling it back and forth. No, no, look, like fireworks, like the moons in the sky and the
there are difficult to acquire components in that. Please, and don't spin it too fast or you could electrocute yourself, or at least give yourself a nasty burn. Or maybe
spin
that's how
around.
you'll learn. So go ahead.
Difficult to we just did a job. We can acquire what we want, right? We can walk into the place, we can acquire what we want, and if we're not gonna have if it's not something more than that, what are we doing? Right? If we're not if we're just gonna walk into a place, do a thing, get coin for it. If I wanted a job, why didn't I just go to the port? You know?
So are you questioning our choice of our job? Should we have done something else? What exactly is it that you would prefer us to be doing?
Not something else. And I think that the sparks are still spinning. He's maybe turning in a circle as he's doing this. We need to be doing something more. We need to,
Hmm.
they don't care, you know. We walk off with those crates. They
Who's
get to
they?
grumble about, oh, the criminal element down in the mud. They get to, oh, maybe put some extra guards on there. They don't care. It
Are we
costs them a
talking
few
about
coin.
them?
Yeah, yeah. They get
Hmm.
to go on doing just what they're gonna do. That they need to feel it. We need to make them feel
And
it.
are you coming to me to tell me this because you know I come from them? What do you
I
think I'm
think
going
for
to do?
I think for a
Yeah.
second Remy had actually missed that connection.
Well,
You're the
I
person
assume
that
that, yeah, I
yeah,
knew that you hadn't, but that's how she's deciding
person
to
that
do it.
makes cool
Svetlana's like,
toys
what?
and
Yeah, like, is it because I'm one of them? No, but she also says, okay, so come up with a way to make them feel it that doesn't result in them raiding us and shutting us down or shooting us all and dropping us in the bayou. And then I'm in.
oh,
Also, make if you can find it to be profitable, I'd appreciate it. I have to buy some new voltage regulators, and you're about to break my last one.
profitable. We can do profit with that. That's the boring part. We can do that. Um, do you have a thing? It's gonna sound bad. You're not gonna like this. Do you have a thing that explodes, but small, like not bombs, not big explosions, small.
My dear, look around. Everything in this room explodes if I handle it properly.
And rummages around and pulls out a little sticky, like organic looking
No.
ball.
No, 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 no.
No.
Do not put that close to those sparks. Oh, my dear. Oh, dear. No,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that can ignite that. Don't, please. It's impure, but it's still very dangerous. You could blow up this whole pipe works with that. Please don't. Or at
Don't
least
want
that's
to.
what's supposed to
No.
happen. And I don't want to test it right now.
Okay, okay, fine. Puts it away. But it's just paint, okay? It's just paint. It's
Oh,
not.
that? Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that was something else.
No, no. It's a little fish bladder pouch that's stuffed
No.
with like powdered pigments or something.
I
Want to
thought
make
that was a
that
gray
explode?
putty that I keep in that Foot Locker
No,
over
no,
there, but
no.
we don't need to talk about that.
Definitely looks interested in that direction, but no, no. Okay, no.
Give it.
These.
Give me the sparker. Mm, mm,
Does a big dramatic bow and presents
mm.
it.
Thank you. And yes, I can make things go boom
Make things go boom underwater.
with a chemical igniter. Yes.
By tonight,
Depends how big the boom is.
just little, just to scatter the dye around. That's all. It's just art.
Oh, I see. Yes, give me a short time. I can put something together.
Okay. Big gracious bow. Oh, genius spirit of the clever toys.
She's already like working on something. What? Oh, you're still here.
Wanders off. He knows that cue. But yes, once he has those put together, that's going to be his indulge vice. He's going to paint some canals, or paint one canal in particular. Oh, you're muted.
And what are we going to see you doing on screen? Like what are we going to see there?
So after dark, after he has the little component to insert into these, he's going to go down to um can I paint a bit of scenery around the
Please,
Alcazar?
absolutely.
So I think one side of it is maybe a like cliff drop off. It's vertical like the rest of the city. The other side of it is a courtyard and a big plaza with a canal running through it. And it's one of the only flat open areas in the city. And this is like the tourist image that everybody knows.
Hmm.
Like this is the Alamo or the Gateway Arch or something.
The postcard
And
picture.
this
Okay.
is the postcard picture, and the Drylanders have very much capitalized on that and taken on keeping it beautiful, and they're using this to promote their rule. So Remy is going to find a spot under a bridge after dark and spend some time just tossing these little paintballs into the water, and they're timed to explode a little bit before dawn. Um, Maybe toss some plant bits and pieces into the water also. And what is going to happen once dawn comes is that beautiful picturesque canal where this whole city is, or this whole scene rather, is white, bright stone. This canal is painted just dark purpley red all around the length
Ooh,
around the Alcazar.
nice. So definitely when morning comes, there is that series of pops, and then the canal, a distorted color. Of course, we'll see people desperately trying to figure out how to get this cleaned up. Um, Spending energy and money, despite the fact that this is something that's going to go away, but they will waste a good amount of time on that. Let's have you roll. I believe your lowest uh, attribute is insight. So roll me one die for that. So you will clear five, but you only have
I
four.
only had four.
So you
Uh-huh.
will, as they say, overindulge. Um, so there are a couple of options here. I think a couple of probably inappropriate. The lose your vice purveyor is probably not on the table, and I don't think you want to have your character immediately go lost, right? For a couple of weeks. Um, so the two choices that are really on the table are we can roll another entanglement that affects your crew, or we can put two heat back on the crew.
Um, After all that work that Lee just did to clear heat, I think Ramey's putting it right back on.
Okay.
I think he is that this color just came out so vivid and so perfect that he can't leave. He's hanging around this plaza, looking at it, maybe trying to add some touches, and
What?
it's enough that it draws notice.
Yeah, I think you've done this kind of subversive street art before, and I think you do have a Banksy style signature, and I think that people do put that together,
Hmm.
and that will bring a little more heat down on the group. That brings us to Svetlana. Svetlana, what would you like to do for your first downtime action?
Indulge. I've got to burn off some of the stress I kept accruing. And my
Absolutely.
indulgence, my vice is luxury. So I want to go and, I have, quote unquote, embraced, gone native, embraced the muck 100%. But I still miss a few of the trappings from home. Like, for example, a scented hot bath or very expensive Drylander wine, or both at the same time.
So do you think this is a thing you go and purchase, or is there a particular emporium that you go to indulge this?
I think to make it more like a vice and not just an act of self-care, which is all
Right.
that really sounds like, I think she sneaks into wealthy drylanders' homes and takes these baths.
Oh, wow. Okay. So these are probably the homes of people that you distantly knew. You know a little bit about their schedule, are able to track that down. You raid their cellars. You find their bath salts. You get that
Mhm.
going. Um, Again, the city does have a water supply, so we do have pipes and waters, and they actually have decent filters up here on the high side. Electro pumps cleaning things out, so it's the cleanest water you've seen in weeks. What else? What is the
Mhm.
last bit of this? Everything has to come in threes, so wine, bath salts, and what else?
It's a delicacy that comes from that the drylanders ha brought into this area from one of their other colonies,
Ooh, okay.
chocolate.
Okay.
Chocolate, red wine, and a hot scented bath. I'm a
Okay.
woman of simple pleasures, or fine pleasures, perhaps.
That makes sense. Your lowest attribute is your prowess. So let's have you roll me
Mhm.
a d6.
I get clumsy when I'm tired. What are you gonna do? All right. Let me get to my the dice roller. Do 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 do. I am looking for it. It's here somewhere. I have to move my tabs around. Resources. Should have loaded this earlier. Apologies. And here we go. 1d6, and the answer is 6.
Oh, of course. Of course it is. So the good news is you get to clear all your stress.
Yay! I love that there's bad news.
So the
Lay it
bad
on me.
news is you now have to make a choice for your overindulgence. Is it more heat for the crew? Um, is it that you know you get spotted such that they're going to be watching out for you and cut you off from this access? Or is it another entanglement for the crew?
Entanglements are more
Okay.
fun.
All right. So let me roll that. We are at heat 5 or 5 now.
Are we gonna make it to the second mission?
We may not. Let's see here.
What can I say? When I'm hot, it's when you don't want me to be hot with my dice. I'll roll plenty of ones later, don't worry.
So
Right? Yeah, for real. I didn't think that we'd be taking that ability because of our yeah, self-destructive behaviors, but
I think that as you are up here in this area, you will feel a, something just hit you in your head, and I think you will realize that somewhere up here in the upper levels, a mage has died. Not just a mage,
mm,
but a mage without a successor. And you turn, and I think you vomit up uh, 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 some of what you just ate and drank, and you realize that a chunk of that wild magic has attached it to yourself in not a great way. Like
oh.
when you go to touch like a metal, there is a shock that goes through. Um, like at one point when you put your hand down on something, your fingerprints burn into the wood. And right now it is stuck and fastened to you because you were close enough. And does that seem like a reasonable thing?
It sounds perfect, and I can role play that into when I take a playbook special ability because it'll be infusing my artifacts with magic powers and stuff. So yes, and it'll be fun.
Okay.
I'll be cursing quite a bit.
Yes. So we're going to come back to Cogito. I want to give you a chance to call a scene in a second with an NPC with a PC to play that out. I do want to set up just the basic frames of a couple of contacts that the group is going to have. These are things you can do gather information on later, or with these scenes or whatnot. Uh, there are three sort of jobs that people are asking around about. Um, one of them is coming from the uh, gondoliers. Uh, they are they need somebody protected and escorted somewhere. That's the basics of what you've got with that. The other thing that you will hear is that uh, the pamphleteers are looking for someone to do a little sabotage. Like they have something that needs to get broken, and they need assistance with that. And the third thing that's out there is that uh, the beast, that's that neighborhood that is in that giant, monstrous gator-like thing. And again, these neighborhoods are fairly well separated. Like getting from one to another can be a challenge. Uh, Apparently, there's a lockdown on that neighborhood right now. It is has some industrial stuff there. They do mine the marrow and things there, uh, and you're not sure exactly who it is, but somebody is clearly hunting around looking for someone to. You're not sure if they want to get somebody in or extract somebody from there during this lockdown. So those are the three things that are kind of out there in the ether. But Cogito, let's have you call a scene. Do you want to interact with a PC, with an NPC? Do we want to establish some things for another faction? What do you think?
Now is this tied to an to an action, like a
Nope.
downtime action? It's not,
Nope.
it's its own
Nope.
thing.
I'm gonna let you call a RP scene here.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking that I would down the line, tell me if this sounds like a reasonable long-term project to start as far as downtime goes.
Okay.
Because I was thinking down the line, I would like to have a long-term project where I'm trying to basically discover my family of origin and my connection to them.
Okay.
And I was thinking if we're doing a scene now, I might see if I could recruit another member or two or three of this gang to join me with that. So I'm not doing that little side story totally solo.
Okay. So who do you want to talk to? Is it one of
Does
the other
anybody?
PCs, or do you want to establish an NPC in the gang? What do you think?
I'm thinking PC just so that I can get a little bit more interaction with people. So I'll send this to the table. Does anybody want in on this? I'm gonna eventually get a long-term project going where I'm trying to find my family of origin. Step one, I think, is going to be to sneak into um, my friend's office and hack his computer or something so that I can assess what his connection to the person in the back of the group photo is. So anybody?
I'm always willing, but if
Sure.
there's somebody else who's a better fit, whatever.
Well, I mean, you're kind of the techie person, I think. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good. So then, how about,
Cogito, let me ask you this.
yeah,
Your lab is very different from Svetlana's lab. Um, when you go into that lab, do you regard it with suspicion, with admiration, or some other emotion? Or do we not see any reaction from you about that when you go in?
I think I feel a more along the lines of suspicion and threat. This is a very different style of technology that I'm accustomed to, and I'm unfamiliar with it, and anything that I'm unfamiliar with but appears to hold great power is inherently threatening to me.
So, what are you in the middle of, Svetlana, when Cogito arrives?
So I imagine I've returned from my little foray to the Drylanders neighborhood, and I'm trying to work on a delicate piece of electronics. I've got like a little, I don't know, soldering iron. It's funny, I chose this character. I don't can't talk tech mechanical talk at all. But that little thing, and I'm like soldering like a circuit, and I'm every time I touch things, I get this little jolt. And so it's like sparks are flying and I'm cursing and I'm throwing the thing down. And it's probably just confirms to you that this is all a bad idea, but I'm doing it anyway.
And I think I will kind of walk in loudly. I think you can hear my boots half stomping, half squishing on the floor. And so my appearance is very obvious, like I didn't sneak in on you or anything like that. Um, and I think I probably have some kind of phrase or catchphrase that I say basically to say we should talk or is now a good time. Um, without making it highly obvious that that's what I'm saying. Um, maybe I say something like, uh, do you want to go on a walk? And that's kind of my way of saying I need to talk to you.
So, she's got these thick black kind of like goggles on and she's doing this, throws the thing down and she looks over and sees it's you. And then she lifts her goggles on her forehead and she said, I might as well. I'm not getting anything done here. Just as long as we can stay away from. And she looks down at your like squished shoes and says, let's stay dry.
Yeah, I've tracked some amount of mud in to
Hmm.
the workshop
Yeah.
probably.
There's a reason I don't visit your lab, hon. Let's go.
Yeah.
A little too
Um,
goopy. Hmm. Doesn't mix well with my electronics.
so well, that's fair. I was gonna say you wouldn't want those exposed to a lot of water. So maybe then we kind of cut to us walking, maybe along kind of one of these canals that we put in. And as I recall, are they full of water or are they depleted? I'm trying to remember if there's water in them.
We have a lot of canals down here that are full of water, but I imagine that there are some that have been turned to other purposes. So I think there's a real mixture of these.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe some are filled with trash because the flow is stopped or they're like dead end. I mean, I lived in Miami for 6 years. There's canals everywhere, and that's totally what it's like.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna say just like that. Maybe there's a graffiti or something on the side of the concrete or whatever. So I think we're walking kind of side by side, and I've got like a vine that I'm just sort of absentmindedly whipping on the ground as we walk, and I will begin the conversation by saying, I've got I guess you could call it a business proposition for you.
Oh, you want me to build a bomb too?
Uh, well, maybe. I've got, well, I think I might have family in the upper crust, Drylanders. I don't remember,
Well,
but I
if
know someone who might.
you you want me to bomb them? No, it's not about bombing. Okay. How can I help? What do you need me to build?
He's a friend of mine. Name's Veldrin. He's a corporate shaman, deals in smuggling, psychoactives, chemicals, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I suspect he has some kind of files or something in his building that would lead me to the person that I'm trying to get dirt on. You may have some, and I'm trying to just pause here so I can see kind of if there's like a way I can pull in some of your specialties. Um,
I mean, you might know that I practice light B&E of in up in the dryland neighborhoods for leisure. Just for example, I just did, right?
right. So,
Apparently, I'm not very good at it, but
oh, that's okay. I think I'll just say that you have some connections up there, and that I can't think of anyone who would be a better partner when it comes to breaking into my friend's office, and he can't find out because otherwise, well, we're friends, and I don't want to make an enemy of him. Um,
yeah,
and
I know how to work a lock to leave it undamaged but open. Yeah, that's fine.
you you can also invade, I guess you'd say, um, objects.
True. I can often coax things to behave in ways I want when they don't shock me.
Hmm.
Mhm. Well, tell me more. I'm willing to help.
And, from here, I think I'll explain that his sort of office, or maybe his domicile, his home, whatever you want to call it, is located in, this and this district of the Drylander area. It's probably up further up. If this is a vertically oriented city, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
up higher up. I explained that there is a picture in his office where he is in the same photograph as a person named Jewel. This is all on my character keeper column, but there is a character named Jewel who claims to be my family member. They are a blood mage and competition smuggler. And I need to know if he has a connection to Jewel and if I can follow up on any such connection to see if Jewel is in fact a member of my family or if there are other people who are a member of my families. Basically, I'm just trying to figure out where I come from, and I don't know any other way to do it but by sneaking into Veldrin's office without telling him.
So I'm not usually the person to give interpersonal advice.
Hmm.
I don't like people, but have you considered, asking Veldrin? Seems easier.
Veldrin doesn't know that I might be from his social strata. As far as I know, he thinks I'm just some no-name smuggler from the mud pits of society. And I don't know how he would react if I said, "Hey, I think I might be the long-lost sibling of
Hmm.
this person in your picture." I'm afraid it would screw things up for me.
That doesn't make sense to me, but
Hmm.
people rarely do. Sure. When do you want to do this? And she pulls out like a leather hand, like notebook, and she's like, yeah, this is empty. I don't have anything going on.
I can give you a date, maybe like soon. I mean, it could be tonight. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess it depends out of character. I guess it depends
Yeah.
on what Veldrin's
Yeah.
schedule is. But yeah,
I feel like it's a good place to cut. You've made an agreement. You know what the next step are. Does that feel good?
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's take our first break. Let's take 10, and we'll come back, and Lee will have you call the scene. So, Lee, when we come back to you, what kind of scene do you want to call? PC, NPC?
I wanna float this idea with Annie because I don't want to just ambush you with this. But I think as the master planner, and as somebody who just, did some work to reduce the heat, I think Lee is not very pleased with Remy at the moment.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think he, he gets back to the hideout. Um, and he says, Um, Remy, can I see you in my office, please? Are you okay
They,
with this?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think Remy is up on his catwalk studio and doesn't respond for a second, and then takes a second to put down um the paint pot he was working with and is moving. He's not moving like himself. He's moving very, very smoothly and like he's responding to that tone, responding to the official tone. Doesn't say anything, but is ready to follow you.
Lee, what does your office look like? Like, what have you built as, and I assume the office has a capital O office kind of thing,
Yeah, well, it's the foreman's office from what this old you know what this I guess this was like a factory or some kind of
right?
industrial before. Um, and he's got like, a writing desk in here, and a kind of like a chaise lounge with like a phonograph, you know. But the main thing is that there's like big windows that are like pretty grimy at this point, but still big windows that are like overlooking the rest of the factory floor and all of the like moss and vegetation that's like all over the walls and hanging down from the ceiling and so on. And he's got his back turned to you. He's like looking out the window and he says, "Remy, you're young. You're just getting into this business. You got your whole career ahead of you. You ever have any ambitions about running your own crew?"
Crew. No, if I wanted to run a crew, I would have. That's a job. I'm not here to take jobs.
Oh, but you're ready to plan them for the crew and put our name in the spotlight. Yeah,
No,
I saw the tantrum that you threw up by the Alcazar.
yeah, true. That, apologies, Maestro. That was art. That was not a job. That was not a tantrum. That was art that makes a statement. There are more important things in life than profits and jobs.
While I admire the purity of your principles, Remy, these people don't have morals or principles. That's what they have power for. And if we are going to show them anything, if we are going to change their minds or their viewpoints about anything, if we're going to make them hurt, we have to do it in a careful and a controlled way, together or not at all. I'm a doctor. I need a scalpel, not a hammer, especially one that is going to go off bashing nails without me knowing about it. Do I make myself clear?
I think it was starting to get through, and then that line, nope, the shield comes right back down. He was starting to recognize.
He is like pinching the bridge of his nose and he says, "You want to do more. You want to make a point."
Want to make them feel it. They can come in, stomp all over everything, make it in their own image. No, no, they can't and they won't, and they're gonna know it, and the city is gonna know it.
Well, let's make them feel it. But in order to do so, we can't be caught or in jail or dead or worse. Now, I have a few ideas of my own. I understand that Cogito uh, has a few leads on things. I just need to know that I can trust you.
So give me something. Yeah, you have ideas. Lots of people have ideas. The last idea was let's go carry some boxes out of the port. That's not going to make him feel it.
You're right. Who is there someone in particular that you'd like to feel it?
I think he starts pacing up and down a little bit. Um, it's been kind of scattershot so far. You'd probably have seen that from him. Okay, you want me to trust you? I'm going to trust you with this. Okay. There
He's
was,
he's turned directly towards you now.
yeah,
Hands folded. He is giving you his full attention.
yeah. So there was a school that the Convergence ran it, but it fed into the architects. It fed into everybody. It was learn to control, learn to channel, learn to be orderly, and it was oh, you can rise up out of the muck, and you can, yeah. One day, the one of the senior students, one of their star pupils up out in the muck, just collapsed in class. And they trained us for this, and they told us this is what you do when somebody overstrains. This is what you, and we ran to help them, and they chased us away. They chased us back to no, you do your lessons, you do that doesn't matter. Well, what he was doing was he was holding up this whole grand facade of the school. He was helping us, he was tutoring us, and he was maintaining this huge illusion this whole time. I want to expose that. These people that hold up this illusion and make it all beautiful. You want a name? I can give you names. I don't have names off the top of my head, but Remy does. Um, but it's not only them. That's the pattern across the city. They make this grand facade. Everything looks beautiful. Everything looks spotless, and there's the blood and gore underneath.
I know what you mean. He goes to his like writing desk and he is sort of rifling through the files and he pulls out some blueprints. Um, and he says, "I might have something in here. I need you to be patient while I put something together. Can you do that for me, please?"
I think Remy is inspecting the blueprints. Can I tell what they are?
I think that um, I don't think that they're blueprints of the school, but it's like maybe, he worked with the architects guilds. Like maybe he has something like a map of that district or
Mm.
um, something like this. Um, he's like flattening them out on the desk. I want you to know that I understand the want for them to know that it was you. But if that gets in the way of the job, I'd rather them I'd rather them fall clueless than for us to be caught before we can do our work.
I think Remy puts a hand down on the blueprints. It's like that was the selling point. That was the proof. Looks back. As long as they fall.
As long as they fall.
Just kind of nods and kind of sketches a ironic little salute and walks out.
I would like to start a long-term project to maybe come up with like a job opportunity for this type of thing.
Yeah, when we do the downtime actions, if you want to do that as your downtime action or as an extra downtime action by spending coin, because of course you can always do that. We'll do that. Um, let's Let me ask you a question here, something that we haven't decided that I do want to kind of get on the table. And then I think we'll do Svetlana's scene and then Remy's scene, kind of flip the order. Uh, so you have in your group a cadre, a cohort of shadows. These are, thieves, infiltrators, skulkers, and things like that. They come with an edge and a flaw. And I'd like to decide those now in case we want to characterize them as NPCs later on. The possible edges are they can be fearsome, so they're pretty scary. Uh, they can be independent, which means that you send them off on their own and you can trust them to make good decisions. They can be loyal, which means they aren't bribed or turned against you, or they can be tenacious, so they won't get deterred from a task. Thoughts on what you would like for your shadow's edge? Suggestions? Putting it out to the table in general.
I mean, I like loyal and independent myself,
Okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
but we only choose one. I'm open.
yeah. Anyone have, if we go to between the loyal and independent, anybody lean one way or the other?
Well, I suppose that's sort of characterizing these, if we were to go loyal and independent, or characterizing these people as like revolutionaries, right? Like maybe not necessarily professionals.
Yeah. Independent makes them seem a little more professional, like they're trained thieves and things. Loyal means that they're here for the cause, I would say. So which way do you want to lean with them? I'm going to suggest loyal, given that conversation that we just had.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just gonna say it kind of depends which strand brought them in.
Yeah. Let's put
So
loyal down, and then let me put out here, misspell loyal. It's only 5 letters, but I can misspell it in that time. Uh, the other thing is you choose a flaw for them. So here are the possible flaws to combine with that. Principled, they have an ethic or a value they won't betray. Savage, they're excessively cruel or violent. Unreliable, they aren't always available due to other obligation, stupefaction from vices, etc. Or wild, they are drunken, debauched, and loudmouthed.
Oh,
I'm
I
sort
think
of
either.
wild.
Did you say wild?
Yeah, that's the one I first. Yeah,
I'm happy with that so long as it fits in with the reputation of being daring, which Wild certainly does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are loyal, but they do like to party. Like they are true to the cause, but they definitely want their time to relax, drink, indulge, go mudlarking, all of that. Uh,
yeah. Young
ah,
Yeah.
revolutionaries.
Mudlarkers, yes.
yes. Svetlana,
Hmm.
I'd like you to call a scene with PC with an NPC.
So curious. All right. Let me look at my sheet and see if there's any NPCs I would particularly like to invoke. But I don't, none are, I didn't, Hmm.
We've got some names for some factions and things on that. We've also got, friends and rivals.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Um, what if, um, a bit of a reputation with the water workers, a status +1, and
Hmm.
I know I have a connection with a union organizer, and that was not really ever determined what faction he was from. So
Okay,
perhaps he could be from the water workers, and we
absolutely.
could I don't know what make a connection with him to uh help us advance one of these jobs that are upcoming, getting information on how to sabotage, as we know the pamphleteers want us to do, because the water workers go everywhere.
Right.
So that's one idea. The second idea would just be training, because she does need to figure out how to do her mechanical thing without electrocuting herself.
Okay.
So,
Um, so yeah, we could do a scene where you're talking with somebody to try and get information on what this magical infection looks like, or we could, talk with the water workers. I think of the missions that you know something about, like you don't
mhm.
know exactly what the pamphleteers want you to sabotage,
Oh, that's
but
true.
insert or extraction from the beast is something that they might be able
Mm.
to talk with you about.
I mean, yeah, this is at a point where it's like, well, do I want to do something that is in the interest of the gang, or in Svetlana's personal interests? And, I'm going to do her personal interest. I think she wants to go talk to in some sort of arcane, like a magician, a wizard, or magician that she knows that might know about how to deal with whatever
Then
possession or something, whatever this is.
I think, like, of the people that you know, I think that you may not tell this to the others necessarily, though you know that Cogito has some connection this way. You know somebody from the Blood Mage Underground,
Yeah.
uh, and uh, you can go and talk to her. And her name is Obedia Thunders.
That is a name. Okay, well,
Yes,
I have to go
uh,
talk to her. What a
absolutely. There's a
name
picture of her on the
in the
NPC
NPCs.
tab. Yeah.
Oh, Obedia.
How
I
is it
like that name.
that you know Obedia? You're not necessarily friends, you're not rivals. How is it that you become acquaintances, do you think?
I think they share certain, I don't know, they met at a specialty club for people interested in exotic entertainment.
Absolutely. Uh, and I imagine that's probably the kind of locale that you have to meet in again with them. Maybe a little bit up from the street, but not too much.
Mhm.
Everything's a little dimly lit. Um, tell me, uh, what what does Mudlarker, like that level Wetlander music sound like? Is it drums? Is it guitars? Is it percussions? Is it, you know, throat warbling? Like what's the dominant music here?
That is so interesting. I think I want to go, let's say it centers the theremin.
Okay. Yeah, we they've
Like weird electronic
oh yeah,
music.
they've got a variety of these instruments. They're hooked up to the electro grid that run
Mhm.
through that people there are probably various different versions of these devices that are tuned in different registers that people are playing, just by moving their hands around. So I think that's what we see on stage, weird theremin electro club music here in this place, dark and lights. Uh,
Yeah.
when you come in, Obedia will look at you and she will say, "Oh, honey, what
You see it?
happened to you?"
I was just minding my own business when apparently someone gave up the ghost nearby, and part of that ghost decided I looked attractive, which, can you blame him? But yeah. Have you encountered this sort of thing before? You seem to be a worldly type.
Well, I have. but you're not going to like my answer.
Hmm.
See, when these mages die untethered, that explodes out. I heard rumors that a highly placed mage passed, uh, and that it was particularly bad because someone had pushed his apprentice off a balcony shortly before that.
Oh,
So there's some rumors about some political shenanigans, some maneuvers going on. Uh, I don't think whoever killed his apprentice was planning on him dying this soon.
so it wasn't the mage wasn't murdered. It was
No, I think that they had hoped to get somebody else in place to catch
hmm.
that magic, but now it's out there.
Well, some of it's in here. It's rather
So,
unpleasant.
uh, so here's the thing. Uh, we've been able to capture some of this energy down here, but a lot of it goes into inanimate objects, as you know. That's how we have the driven.
Hmm.
That's how a number of things have occurred to animate things. Uh, I hadn't heard of a living person being imbued with this, but
I mean, it makes sense. My ex used to say I had a machine for a heart.
well, that's I see. Here's the thing: is the only people I know that have caught this energy are the zombies.
Well, are you saying I have to truck with the walking meat?
No, 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 no. You don't have to talk to Skinner's crew at all. You don't have to do that. Um, what I would try and do is not die right now, because I do suspect that if you were to pass on at this moment, you would zombify.
So let me write that down. She
It's
pulls
just,
out like an empty hand and she says, "So my your advice to me is don't die."
yes,
Okay, thank you,
be
Watson.
perhaps a little more cautious. Now, if you want, I can ask around and I can see if I know there are some people that have been figuring out how to extract that energy from the driven. Maybe I can
Hmm.
get a line on what they're doing there and see if it's something that is survivable and bring that to you. What do you think?
Hmm. Something designed to extract energy from an object done on me. Well, I'm certainly interested. I'll make my own assessment about whether I think it's survivable once I see the science. But yeah, I'd rather not become a zombie. No offense to Skinner and his crew.
No, no, I
But
understand.
really, yeah, not dying is a big priority. It actually has been for a while. So thanks for that tip. Let's hope your extraction device doesn't do the job.
Look, I'll ask around. I'll get the information for you. Try to get that set. Um, I heard it through the grapevine that you might have been present, aware of the transport of a particular box that may
Hmm.
have been somewhat odd. wonder if maybe you could tell me what you saw or heard.
Mm. So pause for just a second. Can you remind me who it was that hired us to do that job?
You were hired by the uh, Bayou biohackers.
Okay. So just an organization, one like a faction hired us to
Yeah.
deliver this clearly strange beast that was trapped in this box. And the whole nature of it suggested this was not something that's supposed to be, I don't know, put in a box and moved through a city, maybe.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. And was there any explicit expectation that this be never discussed, blah, 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 blah,
No,
or that the
they
contents were
provided you with
secret?
very little information. They just said it was uh, uh, agricultural or biological materials. They did not say it was a horrible thing in the box.
Well, then they should really have much more complete contracts. So Svetlana says, well, I may know something about that. Not that I was, clearly involved in anything untoward as far as, official record goes. But oh, I'd say, and then I speculate as to its size, weight, nature. Like I saw the tentacles, if it was scaled, or if it looked mammalian, or if it looked, you know, cephalopoidal, or, I speculate as to its, genus, family, order, kingdom, whatever. It's scientific classification.
Interesting, interesting. I appreciate you sharing those details with me. We heard about it secondhand. Uh, it apparently, those items, those materials, uh, were actually found down below in the pits, in the caverns. You may have heard about them uncovering some old prophetic texts recently.
Oh, yeah. I heard something about that.
Yeah, there were some other things they found there. And the Drylanders boxed those things up and shipped them up top and were about to send them off moon when they were taken.
I see. So the Drylanders wanted this creature, these materials, for study, perhaps, and someone wanted it for their own purposes.
Yes.
Well, I doubt it was these materials are safe when they fall in the wrong hands. Whose hands are wrong? Well, that's not really for me to say. I guess it
I'm a
depends
blood
who's
mage,
paying.
and so
Yeah.
I don't have any room to speak to these matters.
Well, I'm a mercenary mechanist, so if it's not a machine or coin to buy machines, I don't particularly care. And yes, I do hope. Yes, I do hope that well, the Drylanders keep providing us with a rich source of knowledge and opportunity. I
Thank you
hope
being,
that's,
yes, no, no, no.
I say, I hope that's fair
Yeah, absolutely.
exchange for your assistance.
I appreciate you being straight with me. I will go and see what I can find out, and when I have more information, I will return to you, perhaps to help you reduce the burden that you have upon your shoulders.
Yes, that's the only time you'll find anything about me that's straight. She winks and she walks up.
All right. Uh, Remy, let's have you call a scene with a PC, with an NPC. What do you want us to see here?
Um, I think at first, Remy may actually be looking to go off by himself.
Okay.
Um, he's had a couple of these conversations, had a couple, especially that last conversation. Um, it's got his ornery streak in high gear. And he has made this commitment. There was this promise. He's going to be patient, so he's trying to stay out of temptation's way where because he really just wants to go somewhere and make a big splash. So he's going somewhere where nobody is. So maybe down the underground passages or running some of these cave tunnels or something. Um, if we do want to bring somebody else into it, I could see maybe our cohort has a spot down there that
Okay,
he could fall in with.
absolutely. Uh, so let's put a face to the cohort person, male, female, ambiguous, something else.
Uh, I think ambiguous.
Okay.
I think these were shadows, right?
Yes.
So, I think a lot of them tend to go for different styles or different appearances that obscure all kinds of details about themselves.
Okay. I like that. Um, make sure I haven't used this one before. Oh, I put it in the wrong box. Edit, undo. Insert. So you will head down into the tunnels. This is where the cohort hangs out because you've got this connection uh, to the waterworks. We've established that as a feature of your place. What do these look like? Do you think that these underground areas are we into like older undercity dungeon type stuff, or is it more like old sewer tunnel kind of big things, like big cisterns and things down here? What do we see?
I think it's at first the big cisterns and sewer tunnels, and at some point it changes into more undeveloped rock, and it's maybe old lava tubes or something through the rock.
And you know that this is kind of where the shadows hang out. This is how they scamper out. Uh, you know that there's a number of them, but you've never been able to tell like the exact number. Uh, but I think that as you kind of wander down here, you'll see the leader of them pop out. You'll hear the clink of a bottle as they kind of stand up. And oh, hey, boss.
Oh,
Luthra will bow to you extravagantly.
Remy returns it just as extravagantly. I think they have their own little greeting ritual.
What are you doing down here where it is most of the wet?
Ah, just gonna hang out in the wet a little bit. It is tiresome being respectable up there. I'm gonna come down and not be respectable for a bit if you don't mind the boss intruding,
No, no,
kind of
no, no, no,
puffs
no.
himself
Here,
up.
a bottle, and they will reach over to their side, and their hand kind of rummages around in the dark, and they will hold out a bottle. They've clearly no idea what it is, but they will hand it to you.
Absolutely. Take it, clink the bottle.
They will say, "So I don't think this is a place for one as charismatic and well dressed and normally clean as you are. So is something the matter that would draw you down here, or have you brought orders that we don't want to hear? Because we're ready for that too. Bearer of bad news
Ah,
and all that.
not yet, not yet. There's always something. I'm not gonna tell you there's nothing in the works, but I don't have anything for you yet. I honestly, truly, I just want to hang out here for a while. I want to be. Do you have one of those masks I can borrow?
Sure, sure. We've got a ton of masks here, all kinds. Hang on, hang on. Let me get one that's not wet. Yeah, here. This one's more dry than the others. There you go.
Okay. So yeah, I think Remy's just going to try to mimic this camouflage that they do
Okay.
and just try to blend with the crowd for a bit.
Luther will say, as as you kind of are hanging out there, will say, so I heard that Emmeline is headlining at the Conjuration Theater. Big show for the holiday coming up.
I wish you wouldn't have told me that. You're not supposed to tell me
I
that.
have
No,
been waiting to tell you that. I've been
I
vibrating with
know.
excitement waiting to tell you that. Don't know how much self-control it took for me not to come running upstairs when I heard that.
Mm-hmm. Lots of those going on. Okay. Okay. We might have to do a little bit of a joint show there. We know Emmeline, right? We're old friends. We might have to
That was my
collaborate.
understanding that you were old friends.
Yeah, yeah. See, you get it.
Yeah.
You understand.
If you
Um,
want, I could put a couple of the crew just keeping an eye on things over there for you.
yeah, just you folks know how to not be seen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll do that. I'll put one of the kids there to keep an eye.
Yeah,
I heard a rumor that Svetlana had access to some chocolate.
yeah, yeah.
So what I
That's
would like as a trade back is I don't need much. A mug of cocoa, a little chocolate drop, something like that. It anything like that. I would consider that a fair trade.
absolutely, absolutely. I think that can be arranged.
Excellent. We have a bargain then. I will dispatch them toot sweet.
Again, the big bow.
That feels like a pretty good scene there.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Let's come around and do your second downtime action. Um, you can also, don't forget, uh, spend a coin to do an additional downtime action if you wish to. Um, so let's come to Cogito. What would you like to do for your downtime action?
And
Oh,
just to be
yes, you can also burn one rep, but I don't think we have any rep yet to really burn.
And just to be clear, coin, that is something that we collectively possess as a crew. It's not individuals.
Oh
Is
no,
that
each
right?
each of you got a coin last time individually,
Oh, fabulous.
and
Okay.
then we put the rest of the coin in the stash.
Fabulous. Okay.
So you could spend
Um,
your own personal coin and make yourself broke and get another downtime action.
okay. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. Can I go ahead and start that long-term project of investigating family of origin?
Yeah,
Let me make sure I do it. Oh, darn it, I closed out of the Blaze in the Dark downtime moves. But don't you start by like making a clock or something along
yeah,
those lines with it?
yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you think, like the what is the basics here? What is when this clock is filled, what do you want to have happen? And then that'll set us this, like the number of ticks that we want.
I would like to know. Um, I would simply like to know who my family of origin are.
Okay.
And that includes whether Jewel is being honest about being my sibling. They seem to say they are, but it is unclear. There is no proof. That's kind of what I want to see.
So this seems like a pretty basic thing. Like this is a piece of gather information that we're doing here in some ways. So we're going to make that a four-segment clock.
Okay,
Essentially, we'll provide some information and get some follow-up questions when it is filled.
sweet.
Uh, so what do you want to roll that with? How are you pursuing this?
So this is gonna be where me and Svetlana um basically try to break into my clever friend Valdrin's house, home, office,
Right?
and essentially go through his files. I assume some of that is computer, maybe some of that is physical. Maybe there's a hidden safe somewhere that's got some dirt in it. But I want to bust in and see if we can uncover any leads as to maybe how he knows or how he knows my family or where my family is, that kind of thing.
So now you've established that we've got big box, horrible steampunk electro computers here running on the electro field. So yeah, we've got that. I would like them to be black with the orange letters, like the really old CRT things. Yeah, I'm absolutely for that. In fact, I think if you want to roll Tinker for this, I think that is fair since you've established in the fiction that you're going to be doing this. I think we get the montage of you and Svetlana going in. Svetlana, what do we see you doing on screen that makes you look awesome?
During the break-in.
Yeah, yeah.
So I imagine we're wearing like black. We look like little burglars, and we approach this like manor, this fine home, and kind of go into the hedge. And there's a window, and she pulls out like a long, thin strip of metal and she goes, "Hold on, just a moment," and then pops open the window and goes, "What?" And then she reaches over and just disconnects a simple alarm that was on the window, throws it open, and goes, "After you," and then steps in and goes, "Oh." There, probably behind that painting is where I'd put the fuse box. I can turn off the alarm. We can access the if he's got anything, protected. A safe, files, whatever.
With you getting turning off the big old style fuses,
Yeah.
they
Pull
chunk
out like a
over.
literal tube, a little tube.
Yes, perfect. And then you go into his office, and Cogito, you are rummaging and tinkering and hacking here to get information.
Mechanically, is Svetlana permitted to assist here, or can that only happen during missions?
You may, in this case, because we're doing this as if Svetlana wanted to spend the stress to assist you, I would be cool with that.
Up to you, Svetlana. I'm at 2 dice as is.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah,
All right, make it 3. And 3 feels good to me.
yeah.
So here we go. Oh, is it rolling? There it goes. There's a 6.
There is a 6. So a 6 on that, I believe, is 3 ticks
That's
on the clock.
3, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Now, you could spend a coin to raise that result level up by 1, and then you would complete the clock right away.
I would get you to a crit. I'm doing it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna blow my money here, and we'll put that to 5 ticks.
Absolutely. Um, Let me take our second break and let me come back to answer your question, and then we'll come around to finish out the downtime actions. Okay? So
How many
take
minutes?
5. Take
5.
5, and we'll be back. So I think, Cogito, the thing you will pull up is some notes that refer to a family. They certainly identify the figure in that image that you have as Jewel Lonsdale, that they are from a significant family, uh, that he is one of 3 brothers, that one of the brothers is missing. And I think you'll get a picture that feels kind of painful to you when you look at it. The other brother, the eldest brother, died a few days ago. And then a few days later, his father died. See, the eldest brother was the apprentice to his father. The eldest brother got pushed off a ledge. And the father, Barnabas Lonsdale, is a veteran mage who passed away without an heir just a few nights ago. Do you have a follow-up question?
I'm trying to figure out. So
There's
the
more to the
bro
family, but like the line that you come from, there are cousins and uncles and things like that.
Mhm.
But you've been missing for a while, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, years at least. Is there any possible motive for, because I mean this is, you know, one brother gets thrown off a ledge and then his
Oh,
father.
yes. What you will see in the thing is they strongly suspect foul play in the death of your brother Eudora, the eldest brother. Uh, but the death of your father was unexpected. Uh, there's some suggestion that he was uh, that the passing of his heir, his mage heir, threw him and led to his unexpected passing. From what you will see, because of course your friend uh, Veldrin, like he keeps track of all this stuff because this is all about the high magic society,
Right.
and your father was important mage, one of the heads of the magical artistry school, well respected, and passing without an heir means that all that magic was lost.
All of the magic that he had created or that he was
No, no.
overseeing, or
So what we know about those mages is that they have to have an heir. They get the magic from their master. It passes
Mhm.
down and they enhance it over time. But if they die without an apprentice, an heir, that magic goes free. That's what caused the driven. That's what's caused the zombies.
My. Okay. And these deaths happened just a few days ago, is what I'm hearing, right?
Very recently, yes.
Okay. And Jewel would not be an heir, despite being within the family.
Oh, Jewel is now the only legitimate heir, but not to the magic because he wasn't officially an
Mm,
apprentice, but he is heir to the money and position and title of your house. There's no
got
mention
it.
in any of the documents of him being a blood dealer. You have a sense that that's probably something he does not let out.
Okay. Possibility that he's a murderer, maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
insofar as he benefited directly from the death of my two family members.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that seem like a reasonable answer?
That feels great. Svetlana, you can tell that psychologically I'm not well. Um,
That
but
implies something about
yeah,
your original psychological state, I will say.
it's worse. Yeah.
She says, "Well, you're looking glummer than usual. What's all that?" She's pointing at whatever it is you're reading. And while she like tinkers with this like steampunk computer just for to pass the time.
And I think when you look over at Svetlana for a second, you don't see Svetlana, you see another figure there, and then it kind of blinks out for you.
Just kind of a dark, nondescript
No, there was an
figure.
old man there for a second.
Familiar looking
Oh,
old man, maybe?
yeah, I was gonna say anyone I know or recognize.
Uh, Vague memories. You don't have a lot of memories, and even these pictures that you've
Mm,
seen here in this weird, again, black, orange, pixelated images on a screen.
right. I just say, I think I have a brother, Wrench, and I think he may be out to kill me.
Oh, why would he want to kill you? I thought you weren't in the, I thought you were out, exiled, excommunicated. And she just starts rattling synonyms for those words, right? Enjoying herself. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You're having a moment. What was it now? Someone died?
I think Jewel may have killed a brother that we both shared along with my dad.
Oh my
If that's
goodness.
the case, Jewel is the only heir to the family title, fortune, money, and so on. Unless, of course, I show back up and make a claim for it.
Oh, I see.
I
So your
think
father was,
that
oh,
I
yeah.
just want to, before you say that, I think there is a moment though when you turn back, Cogito, and there is your reflection on that computer screen as you say that, and you look at yourself as you are right now.
I imagine I'm pretty unrecognizable. Hmm.
I cut you off, Svetlana.
Well, I just was going to, I mean, I was going to try to see, probe, I would like Svetlana ideally to learn that Cogito's father was a mage who died on roughly day and time X. But it's that's not if that's not something that Cogito would reveal.
No, I would reveal that. Yeah, yeah.
I'd be like, so who? Tell me about your father. Why would your brother want to murder just for the money? That seems rather petty. Well, wouldn't he have inherited it? Why not just kill your brother and wait? Oh, he was a mage. Hmm. Wait a minute. Wait. Was your brother the one that died? Was he the apprentice to your father?
Yes. Jewel
Okay. And
wasn't.
when
Yeah.
when did your father die? What day?
Few days back.
Hmm. Okay. Well, how well did you know your father? Would you say, well, let's just put it this way. I suddenly feel much closer to you and your family. Do I? Well, I should. This is awkward, but Cogito, I am your father. Well, at least some part of me is, I think, maybe. I happened to be in the neighborhood for reasons that we don't need to get into. Recently, on that day, at that time, I felt the death of a nearby mage and did absorb some of that magic energy. Um, it had to have been a powerful mage who died without an heir on that day. I doubt there's more than one. And so like watch, and she reaches into the computer again, and there's a small spark. That's your dad. Ah, he's a. I don't care for him very much. Let's put it that way. Would you just say he was an I don't know, distasteful man? Do you remember much about him? Because I need him out of me.
I barely remember anything. I'm sorry. You absorbed my father?
And I'm actually going to cut there. I think that's a good cut line for the scene before we move on. Um, Lee, what do you want to do for your second downtime action?
Yeah, I want to start figuring out how to maybe like I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this information yet, but
Sure.
I want to start figuring out how to break into or out of this academy that was mentioned.
Okay. So that feels like, does that feel like a long-term project, a planning thing?
That's, I think, what it is.
Okay. So this is essentially a project to get the particular mission details in case that would be a mission you'd want to do. Um, I think that's getting in and out. Uh, it's an institution that is pretty porous because they do have students and things that do some magic arts. Let's say a 4 tick clock for that. Does that seem reasonable? What do you want to roll that with? How are you gathering this information? Is it going over plans? Is it talking to people? Is it casing the joint? What do you think?
Seems like um it's probably going over plans for now,
Okay.
and then maybe in the future it turns into uh casing the joint. Um I'm sort of imagining based on what Remy had talked about in a previous session. There's got to be something that we can do that would be really humiliating for this academy. The fun part about a prank is not that you hurt anybody necessarily, but it's just to sort of show like I got in and out and you didn't know, you know? Um,
Tagging the master's office, stealing a famous statue,
yeah.
that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and especially so if there was some mention earlier about a star pupil who was maybe like quarantined or something like this.
It
Uh,
was overstrained, and we weren't allowed to help them.
yeah, if that's the kind of thing that's going on, I would love to, spirit somebody like that away.
Okay. So that feels like study, right?
For now, it seems like study for sure.
Let's have you roll then.
Okay, I'm rolling one die. I roll a three.
Okay.
I'm willing to spend a coin for this though. This is,
Okay. So that'll put it up a tick. So it'll go from 1 tick to 2 ticks.
I'm a bit of a hypocrite about this kind of thing, you know.
So, so where does that coin spent? Like, is that bribes to get access to libraries? Is it paying people to get information? Like, what do you imagine that is?
The 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 academy itself is um oh, what's the word that I'm looking for? They're putting on a fundraiser.
Okay.
There's like this is the classic like they're reaching out to alumni for money. Um and I think that Lee Arthur is the type of person who could maybe scrounge up an invite to that sort of thing.
Excellent. So, you get a chance to do the walk around, to look. I think you'll end up with 2 ticks because like the physical layout and location, that's probably the easiest part. The harder part is going to be then going, okay, where do they actually have the alarms? Where do they have the magical defenses? All of that kind of thing. Does that seem reasonable?
Are they holding this person if they're holding anybody, right?
Hmm.
Because I think that for something like this, a big event like this,
Yeah. It,
you're
it's
getting
actually
thrown the
it,
lure, but you're
you
not.
will realize that it's both an alumni event, but it's also a memorial because one of the senior masters has recently passed.
Hmm. Yes. Lee is wearing, his best expression of contrition over this.
Absolutely.
Arrived wearing black,
Yeah. I think we do get a shot of you looking up at the portrait of the fallen master with with the black silk on the edges of it there, and probably the same picture that we saw on the yellow and black, orange and black screen before there.
Mhm. Toasting,
Uh,
toasting the portrait with the martini.
Absolutely. The drinks flow free because they want you to open your pocketbooks up. So,
I will a little.
all right. Let's go to Remy. Remy, what do you want to do for your second downtime action?
I think the second action would be to train.
Okay. And what do you want to train in? The playbook or one of the insight prowess or resolve?
It'll be playbook, and I think what that looks like is after this, mingling with our shadows, runs for a little bit. I think Remy ends up off in a cavern again alone and is just trying again and again to build an illusion that is less characteristic. Like he knows he screwed up and he's trying to flex this style, even though the screw up wasn't his illusion. His
Right.
his main art is his
Yeah.
illusion.
What do you think is your tell? Like, what do you think is the tell that you need to? Is it a particular color? Is it a signature? Is it something else? Like, what is it you need to work to move modify here?
Um, I think it's a style that you can almost see the brush strokes, even though this isn't painting, you can see like a
Hmm.
texture swirling through it. And the more correct style of illusions is more photorealistic or more transparent work.
I like
And
it.
so he's trying to practice that.
Absolutely. So we'll see you doing a montage of images practicing, being disappointed, trying again, like that resolution over time. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Mark XP. Uh, and for Svetlana, what would you like to do for your second downtime action?
I think she'd like to, I mean, I guess train. Let me look at my, yeah, I mean, I think I want to get us in one more special move.
Oh yeah.
So I want to build towards that because I want that artificer ability
Yeah. And
to
what is
build.
that training for you, leaning towards that? What does that look like?
I think she's in her study or in her lab rather, trying to channel this spark finger she's developed.
Hmm.
Because the artificer ability is for specifically for spark craft, giving it kind of boosted power. And so I think she's got all of these apparatuses she's building to channel focus, this energy. And so maybe she's trying to build a glove,
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I
like
like
a
that.
zap glove, you know?
Yes. Now you're playing with power. Absolutely.
Mm.
Uh,
Bzzt.
Remy, uh, Svetlana, do either of you want to spend a coin for another downtime action?
I mean, I do, but
Okay.
Yeah, I think I do also. But go ahead.
Okay. And what do you want to spend it on, Svetlana?
let me look at the list of options. I think I do. I mean, in a way, maybe that what I just described was a long-term project, building that device. And then, although I'm not entirely sure, like the ability she has to build items, I guess that's really comes with the artificer move more than just her default kit of moves. So yeah, long-term project to build that glove, and then train will be the
Okay.
third one. So I'll pay a coin to train.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how does
So
train work exactly?
that gives you that XP on the playbook track.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
will do that.
And I did put the crafting creation rules in the folder. So take a look
Oh,
at that. You know you we can uh, normally you have to kind of do a plan and then execute the plan, but you start with one known. So this glove will start with as the thing that you know how to build, and
cool.
so we can do that project. So let's have you roll. Let me take a look here. What do you want the glove to do?
Oh, let's say it's like it will deliver an electrical charge. So I
Okay.
can use it at low energy just to manipulate devices, or high energy. Maybe I've got like a manual lever. I turn on it, or I crank on it, or I just throw a switch on it and connect a circuit, and then and it's like a taser,
All
basically.
right. Let me let me between this week and next look at the inventing rules because there's some questions to go through and things like that, and I want to check that, and we will
Yeah,
get that and get that tinker roll
cool.
uh, for that next session. What about for Remy?
I think Remy would like to acquire an asset.
Okay.
Not sure exactly what our next thing we're gonna do is, but just playing along this line of don't be recognized, it's not us. I think he wants to see if he can get uniforms or credentials or something of the sort to pass us off as um I'm leaning something from the Bureau of Alignment, but y'all check me on that if
Yeah.
somebody has a different idea. But to
What,
to be able to get into
yeah.
places officially.
Why don't we have you roll for the asset gathering, and we'll actually leave that nebulous, like so
Okay,
that once we know what job is, you can say what thing it is. That's how I usually handle it with assets, because otherwise it kind of locks you in on things.
that makes
Um,
sense.
you roll with the cruise tier, which is one.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll a die.
And do any of the normal things apply here, or is it just the tier?
It is just the tier for that.
Okay.
You can spend extra coin to erase a result.
Ooh, not so good. And I already spent my extra coin just to do that. That's a two, so
That is a
not so
two.
much.
So it is a quality zero item, but you do have it. So it's pretty much useful for some fictional positioning. So we'll talk about that when we get to the actual job itself. Does that seem reasonable?
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
that makes sense. Good for a bluff, won't convince anybody close up.
So we have three jobs on the table, like as things to look at. That's how we're going to start next time, is maybe doing some gather information, talking to people, doing some scenes on that, finishing out the crafting, talking about what asset is, and kind of framing up those things to move forward. But I think this is where we're going to stop for today because I think that feels like a good solid chunk. We let the downtime breathe exceptionally. Won't necessarily be as long as this next time, but I definitely wanted to let us have a chance to call scenes and do all of that. Let's look at the XP for everybody. So I will start with our leech. Did you address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem?
Um, I think so. I mean, breaking into and doing all the hacky stuff
Absolutely.
sounds like one.
Yeah, you definitely did that.
Okay.
Uh, uh, then let me get the other XP things.
No desperate actions.
No desperate actions. Uh,
Definitely expressed my heritage.
oh, 100%.
So that's going
Uh,
up there, yeah.
and I don't think you have any trauma
Yeah.
yet. We'll work on that.
Yeah.
And
Um,
there's one other thing. So we did your playbook specific, we did your police drive background and issues from best trauma. So that's the two ticks for you there on that. And you can put that anywhere you want.
oh, is that so? Okay, so it
Yeah,
doesn't just go into Playbook XP. You could instead assign it to a stat or something like that.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
What about for Lee? Did you hit your playbook specific trigger?
Uh, I would say, in fact, that I addressed a challenge with conspiracy.
And calculation, yeah. Mark an XP for that. Um, did you you definitely expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, and background.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Um, actually, I think both for you and for David, I think it's two points on that. Like I think you did that a couple of different times, so I'll give you two on that. Because there was a lot of self-expression. We learned about a lot about characters and such. Uh, let's come around to Remy. What is your playbook specific XP trigger?
Addressed a challenge with artistry and misdirection.
Yes, definitely artistry.
There's some in
Um,
there. Yep.
and I think again, I think we saw your beliefs, your drives, your hair, like all of that. I think we saw that a few times. So let's give
Hmm.
you 2 points on that.
Yep.
Um, and you struggle with issues from your vice. So you get
Yep.
to mark an XP for that.
Okay.
Let's come to Svetlana. Playbook specific XP trigger?
Solving something with technical skill or devices.
Yeah,
Done.
I think a point for that. The
Hmm.
helping out with Cogito and such feels right.
Yeah.
Um, and like the others, I think 2 points for what we've learned about Svetlana, who they
Mm.
are, how they feel, and so on. And you also get an XP for having Ghost Dad. So
Ghost Dad. The minute you mentioned the situation with David's or with Cogito's family, I was like, oh, is Cogito's dad a mage? I loved it. That's enough for me to get a playbook move too. So
excellent.
I will probably take the artificer special move because I just want to build more tinkery crap.
I'm going to give you 2 XP on crew. You didn't do a job, but I think you definitely expressed the nature of the crew on
Mm.
on several occasions there.
Definitely hit the inner conflict.
Yes. So let's do quick stars and wishes to wrap this up. Uh, David, can I start with you?
I thought it was a really cool idea to, and I don't know if this is part of the game, but I thought it was a really cool idea on your part to insert scenes that we call in between the two downtime actions. So I'm all for keeping that if that's not already in the rules. Big fan of Gwen, you having absorbed my father. That was a twist I did not see coming. I think as far as wishes go, I wonder if there's a way to like interweave the side plots for all the characters into the missions. Like does that make sense?
Oh
Like
yeah,
something that yeah, so that's just
yeah.
something that I think would be cool just to
Definitely
tie it
that's
all together.
yeah. No, that's definitely one of the things. Is what and another reason why I let these breathe is to give me hooks that I can then connect and use to complicate the missions as we go along. So yes,
Awesome. That's all I got.
okay. Ian.
Yeah, I think my star this time is I really like this Svetlana Cogito matrix that's starting to shape up here. Um, and I do see some of the subplots starting to kind of like trend towards each other, and I'm just, I'm watching this like, haha, yes. Um, so that's very fun. As far as a wish goes, yeah, I'd like for you know, Lee Arthur expressed a lot of like used a lot of absolutes in that speech that he made earlier, and I
Mhm.
am be a massive hypocrite and like do some of the stuff that he was explicitly advising Remy not to do.
Right.
Um, that's my goal, I think.
I think that's a great character goal. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll try and give you the opportunities to burn yourself that way. Annie.
Yeah, I really like that conflict that we have developing. I thought I saw something there. I didn't picture it in that exact form, so definitely stars for jumping on that opportunity and really bringing that out. I like how we have kind of parallel. We've got two characters and two characters with a plot line developing, and I could see those interweaving later. Um, Kind of what's been said about how, yeah, things are already starting to tie together, and I definitely would like to see that continue. Um, Wishes, yeah, I like this push-pull we have going with these different tensions, and I'd like to see that continue and see, does it come together, or is this a crew that breaks apart spectacularly by the
Oh,
end?
that's a good question. Excellent. And Gwen.
Yeah. So star to Annie for Remy's I don't know, I really enjoyed the like you want to make a difference speech that you gave to us or that Remy gave to Svetlana in the lab. I mean, I think that's I like the artist revolutionary principled idealist vibe you got. Um, Lee was, I love Lee's like command, right? It's just, I think you really capture, I don't know how to put it, like a Danny Ocean vibe a little bit, you know? Like you're the one putting it all together and you're just like cooler than cool. I think that's fantastic. And Cogito is such a I love, David, I don't know if you try to do this with your characters or if I just happen to get the great gift of seeing you play emotionally complex characters. I think Cogito is bringing a lot of, this is a character that I think in a way it's one of the, it's hot, Blades in the Dark doesn't seem to, like encourage necessarily inner emotional conflict. There's not really mechanisms involved, but Cogito's, um, gonna have, I think your care. I can't wait to see how Cogito decides to handle this potential for a family reunion, especially how changed visually, physically, that person's become, and and then start a Lowell for. I mean, I don't know why, but just like I'm like, oh, somebody died. Oh, I wonder who that was. And then, oh, a master of the school recently died. Was it a mage? And I'm like, hey, tying it all together. I think that's super cool. And that goes to a little bit to, I think it was Annie or somebody or who said, like, wouldn't it be nice if all these side plots kind of ended up leading into, yes. I mean, that's like the best. One of the things I love about like good heist movies often is all of these disconnected things you are shown at the end when it's kind of revealed how it all worked were actually all part of this grand mechanism. And so I get that's the vibe it all gives, which I thoroughly enjoy. So thank you all for that. I look forward to seeing how it plays out.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I had a great time writing this. I love character interaction scenes. I love NPC scenes. I love getting more people on the board, getting a chance to do that. So this was a dynamite session for me to run. And I am going to stop the recording